Welcome to Year 1 Grammar. For this session you will need a pencil and some paper. You can pause the video at any time. Today's objective is to write and correctly punctuate a sentence. This session will recap the previous sessions, so let's get started. When writing a sentence, what do you need to include? Take a moment to think. When writing a sentence, you must include capital letters, finger spaces, and full stops. We are now going to spot the features of a sentence in this sentence. Once there was a young girl called Lola. Here is the same sentence again. You will see capital letters in green. There are two capital letters in this sentence. One at the start of the sentence, in once, and a second for the name Lola. The finger spaces between each word are highlighted in orange. And remember the full stop at the end of the sentence, and here you can see it in red. Take a look at this sentence. She lived at the top of a tall mountain in Switzerland. We are going to find the capital letters, the finger spaces, and the full stop. How many capital letters can you see? There are two capital letters, but why are they there? The first capital letter, the S in she, is for the start of a sentence. The second capital letter, the S in Switzerland, is because it is the name of a place. In this sentence, you can also see the finger spaces. The finger spaces are between each word, and at the end there is a red full stop to show that the sentence has finished. Now it's your turn. Look at this sentence. Lola would visit her younger sister Amy in Japan each year. Can you find all of the capital letters, the finger spaces, and the full stops? Here we have three capital letters. One for Lola, because it is the start of a sentence, but it is also a name. Another for the name Amy, and a final capital letter for Japan, which is the name of a place. In between each word, we have a finger space. Altogether, there are 10 finger spaces. And finally, the full stop at the end of the sentence. Now, we are going to spot the mistakes in sentences. First, let's read the sentence. One day, I saw Lola fly across the sky on her broom. Wait a minute, that just doesn't look right. I can see that this sentence is missing a capital letter at the start of the sentence, a capital letter for the pronoun I, a finger space between the words the and sky, and finally the full stop. Let's correct these. One day I saw Lola fly across the sky on her broom. That is much better. I have all my capital letters, all my finger spaces, and a full stop at the end of my sentence. Our next sentence is, Her cat, called Rosie, was on the broom too. Again, it isn't quite right. Take a look. What would you change? We need to change the capital letter at the start of the sentence and a finger space in between her and cat. We also need a capital letter for Rosie because it is a name and a full stop at the end of this sentence. Let's see how it should look. Her cat, called Rosie, was on the broom too. That looks much better. Now it's your turn. Look at this sentence. They flew over Turkey and China on their way to Amy's house. What would you change? Pause the video and rewrite this sentence, remembering to use capital letters, finger spaces, and full stops. Now, check your sentence against mine. Did you use the capital letter for they at the start of the sentence? A capital letter for Turkey, the name of the place? A finger space in between Turkey and the word and? A capital letter for China? Again, that is the name of a place. A capital letter for Amy's, because Amy is the name of a person. And finally, a full stop to show it is the end of your sentence. Now, we're going to practice sentence writing using dictated sentences. I'm going to say a sentence and you need to write it down, remembering to use capital letters, finger spaces and full stops. So here you can see a picture with two names, one for the person and one for the dog. Think carefully about what you need to include in your sentence. I would like you to write: Dave and Jim paddled across the lake. Dave and Jim paddled across the lake. Did you remember to use capital letters for both names? Let's check your sentence against mine. Dave and Jim paddled across the lake. If you missed any of the features out, change them now. Our next sentence is: After it rains, I like to jump in puddles. After it rains, I like to jump in puddles. Now let's check. Did you remember to use a capital letter for the pronoun I? After it rains, I like to jump in puddles. If you've missed any of the features, make sure you change them now. Our next sentence is: The helicopter crew looked for Jane and Robert in the Atlantic Ocean. The helicopter crew looked for Jane and Robert in the Atlantic Ocean. The helicopter crew looked for Jane and Robert in the Atlantic Ocean. Let's check your sentence against mine. Did you remember to use capital letters for the name of the ocean and the name of the people? The helicopter crew looked for Jane and Robert in the Atlantic Ocean. Remember, if you missed any of the features, be sure to change them now. It is now activity time. This activity is for you to write a sentence for each of these pictures. Remember to think, who is doing what and where are they? Pause the video while you write each sentence and unpause the video when you're ready to move on. Let's check your answers. You may need an adult to help you here. Did you use capital letters, finger spaces, and full stops? And finally, our plenary. Here we have a picture and a sentence that you have seen before. I would like you to look at my sentence and see if we can improve it. My sentence is, Jack flew his kite on the beach in Spain. To improve this sentence, we could add adjectives to describe objects and places. So Jack flew his kite on the beach in Spain. Take a moment to think about what adjectives you could add into this sentence. Here's my sentence. Jack flew his vibrant kite on the sandy beach in Spain. I've added vibrant. The kite is brightly coloured and the beach is very sandy. So I've described both the kite and the beach. Jack flew his vibrant kite on the sandy beach in Spain. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you've all enjoyed this session, and fingers crossed I see you again next week.